His big manhood attracted me. His mother-in-law, they say the heart never stops yearning, no matter your age. At 50, I thought I had outgrown those longings, buried them beneath wealth, status, and the image of a respectable mother and businesswoman. But life has a way of laughing at your confidence, exposing weaknesses you never imagined you still carried. I was a woman of means. Decades of running successful businesses had given me the kind of financial security most people only dream of. My home stood proudly in Lecky, my cars glistened under the sun, and my name carried a certain reverence in both church and society. To the world, I had it all, except companionship. My husband had left years ago, long before the wealth came. We were never able to reconcile, and after he remarried, I threw myself into work. Men came knocking, of course, but I built walls, convincing myself love and desire were behind me. At 50, my focus was my only child, my beautiful daughter, Ifema. Ifema was the center of my life, my pride and joy. She was 27, graceful, brilliant, and ambitious. And when she announced she was getting married, my heart nearly burst with joy. That was the first time I met Richard. He wasn't what I expected: tall, broad-shouldered, with an easy smile and the kind of confidence that filled a room without arrogance. His handshake was firm, his voice deep but gentle, and though I would never admit it out loud, the first time his eyes met mine, something fluttered in my chest, something I quickly dismissed as harmless admiration. He became part of our lives swiftly, from wedding preparations to family gatherings. Richard was there, always kind, always helpful. I watched how he cared for my daughter, how he carried her bags, opened doors for her, listened when she spoke. I told myself I liked him because he was perfect for her, and that was true at least. Partly, but somewhere deep inside me, another truth was taking root. It began subtly, the way his shirt clung to his chest after a long day, the flash of his strong arms when he lifted things round the house, the way his laughter filled the room, rich and contagious. And once, just once, the accidental brush of his hand against mine that left my skin tingling long. After he had pulled away, I scolded myself. You are 50, a mother. His mother-in-law. Stop this foolishness. I prayed more, buried myself in church activities, tried to avoid being alone with him, but fate is a cruel puppeteer, and the strings were already tightening. The wedding was beautiful. I stood beside my daughter, tears in my eyes as I watched her vow to love and honor Richard. My heart swelled with pride. Yet, as the music played and the guests cheered, I found my gaze drifting more than once to the groom, his strong figure, his confident stride. That night, I told myself it was over. He belonged to her now. Whatever stray thoughts had plagued me would fade away. I was wrong. Weeks turned into months. My daughter's career demanded frequent travel, leaving Richard alone in the house. And as a dutiful mother, I often visited to check in, bring meals, or simply keep him company. At least, that's what I told myself. One evening, I stopped by unannounced. Richard was in the living room, shirtless, doing push-ups on the floor. My breath caught. His muscles rippled with each movement, sweat glistening down his back. I should have looked away, but I froze, transfixed. He noticed me and sprang to his feet, embarrassed. Oma, I didn't hear you come in. I forced a laugh, pretending composure. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just brought you some stew. His smile returned, warm and innocent. You're too kind, thank you. As he reached for the bowl, our fingers brushed again. This time, the jolt was undeniable. His eyes lingered on mine. Just a heartbeat longer than necessary. Something passed between us, something dangerous. From that day, the tension became a living thing. Every visit carried an unspoken electricity. Conversations stretched longer than they should. Silences grew heavier. Sometimes, I caught him watching me, his gaze dropping to places no son-in-law's eyes should wander. And at night, alone in my bed, I found myself restless, replaying moments, imagining things I had no right to imagine. I wept in prayer, begging God to take away the thoughts, but desire has a way of drowning out reason. The turning point came one Sunday afternoon. My daughter had traveled again. I dropped by their home, only to find Richard asleep on the couch. His shirt had ridden up, exposing the hard lines of his abdomen. I stood there, watching, my breath shallow. Then he stirred, eyes fluttering open. "Ma," he murmured, his voice husky from sleep. I snapped out of my trance, embarrassed. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to wake you." He sat up slowly, his gaze locking onto mine. And for a long, unbearable moment, neither of us looked away. That was the day I knew we were standing on the edge of something we could never return from. And that's how it began. The glances grew bolder, the touches lingered. The air between us thickened each time we found ourselves alone. I was 50. He was 28. My daughter's husband, my son-in-law. And yet, against all reason, all morality, all decency, something forbidden was pulling us together, and I could feel myself slipping. I fought it. Oh, how I fought it. Every morning, I knelt in prayer, asking for strength. I reminded myself that Richard was my daughter's husband, that even thinking of him was sin. I busied myself with work, charity, church meetings, anything to silence the thoughts. But desire is a stubborn fire. The more you try to smother it, the more it smolders, until the heat becomes unbearable. The next few weeks were a blur of temptation. Richard and I found ourselves alone more often than was safe. A simple conversation over tea would stretch for hours, filled with laughter and an intimacy I hadn't felt in years. Sometimes, our hands brushed. Sometimes, his eyes lingered too long, and sometimes, there was silence, thick, heavy, charged silence that said more than words ever could. One evening, rain poured heavily, trapping me in their house. Ifeoma was away on a work trip, and the roads were flooded. Richard insisted I stay the night. "Ma, please, it's too dangerous to drive now. The guest room is ready." "Stay." I hesitated, but the storm outside decided for me. He prepared dinner, and we ate together. The sound of rain against the windows, the soft glow of the lights, the way his laughter warmed the room, it all felt too intimate, too dangerous. Later, I lay in the guest bed, tossing restlessly. The storm raged outside, but inside me, a fiercer storm was brewing. I heard footsteps in the hallway. My door creaked open slightly. "Ma," Richard's voice was low, uncertain. My heart pounded. "Yes, I just wanted to check if you were okay." "The storm is loud." "I'm fine," I whispered, though my voice trembled. He lingered in the doorway, his figure outlined by the dim light. For a moment, neither of us moved. Neither of us breathed. And then, slowly, he closed the door again. I pressed my face into the pillow, shaken, because I knew, deep down, that if he had stepped closer, if he had crossed that room, I would not have stopped him. From then on, the tension became unbearable. Every visit, every encounter carried the weight of unspoken desire. Once, while washing dishes together, our hands brushed into the running water. He didn't pull away, neither did I. The air thickened, and for a second, it felt like the world stopped. Another time, I slipped on the stairs, and he caught me, his strong hands gripping my waist, holding me close. My breath caught as I looked up at him. Our faces were inches apart. I felt the warmth of his breath, saw the flicker of something in his eyes. But again, we pulled back, guilty, trembling. It was madness. I was 50, old enough to be his mother. He was my daughter's husband. And yet, I could not deny the way my body responded to him, the way my heart raced in his presence. At night, my dreams betrayed me. Dreams of his touch, his lips, his body. I would wake in a sweat, ashamed, yet secretly thrilled. The breaking point came on another quiet afternoon. Ifeoma was away, as usual. I brought Richard some food, and we sat in the living room, talking. The conversation drifted from work to life to loneliness. He confessed how hard it was with Ifeoma always traveling, how the house felt empty. And then he said it. "Ma, you're the only one who makes me feel like I'm not alone." My chest tightened. Richard, his eyes locked onto mine, intense, searching. "Tell me you don't feel it too." I froze. The room seemed to spin. I should have denied it, should have rebuked him. But the words stuck in my throat, because the truth, the dangerous, Shameful truth was that I did feel it. He reached for my hand. My heart hammered wildly. For a second, I almost let him hold it. Almost, but I snatched it back, trembling. "This is wrong," I whispered, my voice breaking. So wrong. But even as I said it, I knew the walls were crumbling. From that day, there was no going back. Every look, every word, every moment we shared was soaked with unspoken desire. We danced around the edge of disaster, knowing one misstep would send us tumbling into the abyss. And yet, part of me longed for the fall. One evening, as he walked me to my car, the inevitable happened. He opened the door for me, and I turned to thank him. Our eyes met, and something snapped. He leaned in hesitant at first, as if giving me a chance to stop him. I didn't. His lips brushed mine, soft, tentative, electric. For a moment, the world stopped, then reality crashed back. I pulled away, breathless, horrified. "Richard, no, we can't." But the taste of him lingered on my lips, burning, unforgettable. I drove home in silence that night, my heart pounding, my body trembling, my soul torn between guilt and longing. I knew it was only the beginning. After that kiss, nothing was the same again. We avoided speaking of it, but the memory lingered in every glance, every brush of our hands. The boundaries were already broken, and it was only a matter of time before the dam gave way completely. I told myself to stay away, but fate or maybe weakness kept drawing me back to Richard's house. I told Ifema I was just checking in, helping him with meals while she traveled. She believed me. Of course. She trusted me. And that trust cut me deeper than any blade. But the forbidden flame burned brighter. One afternoon, Richard came back from work early, exhausted. He sat heavily on the couch, tie loose, shirt unbuttoned at the collar. I placed a plate of food before him, and he smiled at me with such warmth that my chest ached. "Ma, you take better care of me than my own wife," he said, half joking. I should have laughed it off. Instead, tears pricked my eyes. "Don't say that, Richard." He looked up, and something passed between us. Something raw and guarded. And then, without warning, he stood and pulled me into his arms. I should have pushed him away. I didn't. His embrace was strong, desperate, filled with all the longing we had buried. When his lips found mine again, there was no hesitation this time. It was hunger, fire, release. My body betrayed me. I melted into him, my hands clutching at his shirt, my breath ragged. The room spun as weeks of tension exploded into reckless abandon. "Richard," I gasped, weakly resisting. But his lips silenced me, and in that moment, I didn't want to resist. I wanted to feel alive, wanted to be wanted. We stumbled, clung, devoured, and crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. Afterwards, silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. I sat on the edge of the bed, trembling, my heart in my throat. "What have we done?" I whispered. Richard sat beside me, his face pale, conflicted. "I don't know, but I can't regret it. Not when it's you." Tears spilled down my cheeks. "I'm your mother-in-law, Richard. I'm her mother." He reached for my hand, but I pulled away. The guilt was crushing, unbearable. Yet beneath it, shamefully, was something worse: desire for more. We swore it was a mistake, swore it would never happen again. But once you taste forbidden fruit, it haunts you. It happened again and again. Hidden moments stolen when Ifema wasn't home. Passion laced with guilt, pleasure tainted by dread. Each time, I told myself it was the last. Each time, I lied, until the night everything shattered. Ifema came home unexpectedly. I was in Richard's room, the door locked. Our laughter is low and intimate. Then the sound of the front door, her voice calling out, the clatter of her suitcase. Panic seized me. "Richard, she's home," I whispered, scrambling. He cursed under his breath, pulling on his shirt. My hands shook as I tried to compose myself. My heart thudded so loudly I was sure she'd hear it. But fate was merciless. The bedroom door creaked open. Richard hadn't turned the key. And there she was, Ifema. Her eyes darted from me to Richard, to the disheveled bed, to our guilty faces. The silence was deafening. "Mummy," her voice cracked, disbelief splintering into horror. What is this?" My knees gave way. Ifeoma? No, it's not. But there were no excuses strong enough, no words that could erase what she had seen. She turned to Richard, betrayal carved deep into her face. Richard, with my mother? He stammered. Reaching out, Ifeoma, please. Let me explain. She recoiled as if his touch burned. Tears streamed down her cheeks. Both of you've destroyed me, she whispered, and then she ran. The days that followed were a blur of chaos and pain. Ifeoma cut me off completely. She refused my calls, my visits, my pleas. Her eyes, once full of love, now carried only hatred when she looked at me. Richard tried to salvage the marriage, but it was futile. The trust was broken, shattered beyond repair. Eventually, she left him, filed for divorce, moved far away. As for me, I lost my daughter. The weight of it crushed me. Nights were sleepless, haunted by her face, her voice, her tears. The guilt gnawed at my soul until I could hardly bear to breathe. I had betrayed not only her trust but my role as her mother. I had destroyed the very thing I held most dear. Richard and I ended things, of course. There was nothing left to hold on to. Our love had become a poison, leaving wreckage in its wake. Sometimes I still see him, passing in the street, across church pews. Our eyes meet briefly, filled with unspoken regret. We do not speak. We cannot. I sit alone now, in my quiet house, surrounded by memories of laughter that will never return. I replay the choices that led me here, each one a dagger. Was it loneliness, desire, weakness, or something darker? I don't know. All I know is that in reaching for forbidden fire, I burned down everything I loved. And the ashes taste of nothing but sorrow. The end.